Good morning, Mr. Chan. Thank you for joining us at Asia CEO podcast. Asia CEO is a community of 22 chapters around the world, and we have got more than 14,000 CEOs like yourself in our membership. And we hope that with these memberships and with this connection, we can help CEOs like yourself gain more knowledge, gain more friendship, and hopefully you guys can do business together. So thank you again for joining us this morning. We have 30 minutes to get to know you, and also congratulations for being elected as the chapter president for Malaysia. We hope you will steer this chapter to greater heights. So my first question to you, Mr. Chan, I know that you have been in the payment industry for a long, long time. 2 decades, if I'm not wrong, but you did not start, from day one that you were in this space, from what I know, and you were not born in silver spoon. Like the last I checked, your dad wasn't a Dato or a Tan Sri. You basically built this yourself, right? So I think the audience, especially the startup community, would like to know, how did it actually started? So let's take you back to days when you were teenagers and your kids, right? I know it wasn't that easy for you based on the other podcasts that we've listened, but if you could share with us how your childhood was like, or your teenage life was like, and 1 or 2 of the lessons that you've learned through your childhood.
Okay, thank you, Rina, for giving me this opportunity to actually express or even introduce myself to the Asia CEO chapter. Thank you very much. What I've achieved until today is not something that happened by chance. I actually was born in a very poor family, and it all started way back in Form 1. In Malaysia, Form 1 means in the secondary school. Now, the last day of Form 1, the last school semester, obviously we get our results for that particular year. And guess what? I'm the person that never passed exam. So I was punished by my form teacher. And I still remember her name very clearly. The form teacher is Mrs. Tang. She was our mathematics teacher. And I came from a co-ed school where we got girls and boys in school. And because of the caning, I feel very, very embarrassed. Of course, nobody wants to fail the exam. The reason why we fail all these exams in school, because being poor, we don't have the opportunity to actually spend time to study or even do revision and so on and so forth. So most of my younger days, I will actually need to help my parents to work to earn some living. So because of that, I took a bus back to my house, and it is double whammy in the sense that after being caned, you feel so embarrassed, ashamed in front of class, and of course, in the afternoon when you reach home, you feel very hungry. So I look at my dining table and I see that there's no food on the table. So, well, I thought my mom actually forgotten to cook. Actually, my mother didn't forget to cook. It's actually nothing to cook. So what I did was I searched the whole house and I managed to search 15 cents. Now, during that time, this 15 cents, I can buy a pack of Maggi. So with that, I add, and with the leftover rice, from the rice cooker. I actually have I would say a satisfied meal, and I actually slept now. Like Newton slept under the apple tree. So I have a sleep. I slept under the mango tree. The reason is not that I don't want to sleep inside the house, because in the squatter's house, it's very hot in the afternoon. So after have a good nap, then I woke up because of the prayer. Azan, the Muslim have a prayer at around 6:45, 7 o'clock. So I realized that I actually spoke to myself and asked myself, why am I in such a situation where I didn't do well in my exam, I have nothing to eat. My question is, why am I so poor? So
Mr.
what
Chan,
I did was,
is that what you call a wake-up call?
yes, it's a wake-up call. I actually asked myself why I'm in such situation that having no food is something that I cannot accept. Even in my early days as a boy, as a young man, and I decided I actually made a very crucial decision in my life. That is, I told myself, I don't want to be poor anymore. Now, guess what? The moment you make that decision, you will see that suddenly you have a lot of energy within you. And the first thing my mind is asking myself is, if I don't want to be poor, what should I do? So the question is very simple. I get a good job. How do I get a good job? It's very simple. I need good academic results. I need to enter university. I must get a degree. So in order to enter university during our time, especially the local university, we have no chance to travel abroad to study. No way. So to enter local university is like we are competing with the whole nation to get into the 7 public universities during my time. Now I think they got more than 20 over 30 universities. So it's very logical question, and the answer is also very logical. So in order to enter university, I must get good result. In order to get good result, I must study. So immediately I went inside the house, and because the one that caned me is a maths teacher, very obvious, I took out all my mathematics book, whether it's a textbook, exercise book, whatever book, I start practicing. And during the long holiday, I managed to obviously did every question or every science book that I can find in my house. And guess what? When school reopened, I actually did very well. And I actually be the top student in Form 3, where we got a public exam called SRP, Sejauh Rendah Pelajaran, and I scored easily 6 A's. And the rest are history. So I did very well in my SPM, then I did very well in my A levels. And guess what? I entered university. Now, what I want to share is during my early days, being poor or born poor sometimes can be a blessing, right? Now, all it takes is for you to decide. Everybody have to decide whether you want to continue to be poor or not. So I make that decision, and that decision actually changed my life completely. So I hope the audience who actually watch this video, to me, if you are in a very bad shape or very challenging situation, especially post-pandemic, this COVID-19, to me, it's like you must make a decision. What are you going to do, right? What you want to be, right? That is very important. The moment you make that decision, trust me, you got all the energy and answer to solve your current situation. Of course, you have to put in a lot of hard work, determination, and so on and so forth. So obviously, I actually entered the National University of Malaysia. I graduated in a Bachelor of Science, majoring in mathematics. And I was also the book prize winner second year onwards. Meaning to say, second years I got straight A's. 2 semesters in university, all the subjects, we got straight A's. Then from there, I actually graduated in 1990, and I got a job in IT industry. And guess
Mr.
what?
Chan, sorry to interrupt you. I know we're going to talk about your employment post university, but during your teenage days or your university days, right? What I noticed was a couple of key lessons learned that you were in a situation, a bad situation, that you perhaps before you make that harsh decision to change, you were just contemplating, or perhaps, when you were kids like myself, I used to ask, how come I'm not born into a rich family? How come my friends got cars? But, that is a situation we're born in. There's nothing we can do about it. There's no one we can blame. But I think some great person said that you can't choose which country, which parents you're born to, but you can certainly choose your future, right? So in context, right, to put it into today's world, you are an entrepreneur. If you were to take those decisions back then and you basically superimpose it into a business strategy today. So do you agree that we as entrepreneurs, if we want to start a business, there's so many startups right now, but I think having a clear vision, a clear direction, and then where you want to go is important. How you go to that particular destination. You can take a plane, you can walk, you can take a flight, you can cycle. There's so many ways, and that is actually the strategies to achieve that goal that you have. So in your context, you wanted to do well so you can get a good job. And how are you going to achieve that? Your strategies will be, okay, I'm bad at maths, and your maths teacher is sort of like your motivation to show that you can. So you basically took out all your books and you do all the exercises and all this. So that is a very logical and practical execution, right, to achieve, even if it is small steps. So what I would like to reiterate is that in the entrepreneurship world, since I'm a VC, I see a lot of pitch deck with great ideas, but probably you would agree with me that great ideas remain ideas if you cannot execute it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, Rina, one thing I really learned during my early day is life is never fair. Never was, never is, and never will be. Now imagine when we were in the early childhood, at a very early age, we have to start to work. And I start to look at my peers. They spend time in playing, all this, enjoy their time being a teenage or being a child during their childhood, and so on and so forth. And why I need to work? So I already accept that life was never fair to me. Now, guess what? This life never fair thing even happened throughout my journey as a teenager, then even in universities. I mentioned that I was the top student in second year, and in third year we're supposed to major. Very obvious, I study in Faculty of Science, so there are other departments like computer science, actuarial science, statistics, and mathematics. Now, trust me, nobody wants to choose mathematics, because studying mathematics we are studying like 1 + 1 = 2. Why? Why 1 + 1 = 2? So there's a lot of things that you have to imagine, a lot of assumptions. So, I mean, in a nutshell, mathematics is a very boring subject, right? You have to do a lot of imagination. Okay, now
does the mathematics, faculty that you chose help you?
I didn't choose. I was forced.
You were forced to.
mathematics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I want to point out that the point that I want to highlight here is life was never fair to me. Being a top student, if you are a top student, it's very obvious you can choose your majoring. But during that time, the dean of the faculty is from mathematics, and he chose all the top Chinese, the students to be in the department. So I have no choice. But later stage, I want to stress this point, and maybe you can remind me, is whatever I studied mathematics, to me now, if I look back, it's blessing in disguise. Okay, there's a lot of blessing, which I'm going to share with you later. Now, because I accepted that life was never fair to me, never is, never will be. Now, what happened? If the moment anyone accepts that life is never fair, you will become very humble. You are like a sponge, a dry sponge to actually absorb as much water as possible. Your brain is ready to absorb as much knowledge as possible. Because the moment you feel very humble and life never fair to you, you never complain. You don't waste time and compare with your peers. Why the guy got a good life? Why the guy in university driving a car while we have to take the public transport and so forth. So you never compare. And what you do is you continue to try to improve yourself on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, and on a yearly basis. Now, this is very, very important. So you will spend a lot of energy to actually to improve yourself. So this principle, which I acquired during my early childhood, it actually applies into whatever I'm doing now, especially business. You see, a lot of people are complaining like startups, oh, I can't raise money. Nobody wants to invest in money, my company. My idea is very good. People don't accept my idea. They keep on complaining. You see, they're using good energy to complain, to do something that's very negative. So if you know that life never fair to you, you don't expect people to put money in your company. So what would you do? Being a startup, you think this is your good idea and the idea is good. You must do it yourself. You have to actually search around, convince people, or get the working capital you need, or you have to work over the hours to earn enough working capital. Or the most famous phrase I use in all this radio interview is, for any startup, if you want people to invest in you, have you sold your last underwear? If you're still wearing an underwear, that means you still got something to sell, right? If you sold your last underwear, that shows that you believe, you are committed and convicted in your business idea. An investor will know how serious you are and how committed you are in your idea. Because I sold everything, even my last underwear, that is the most important piece of cloth on my body. I sold it because I believe in my idea. That is very important. So I hope the audience will learn something that I actually learned, and this principle become a guiding tools. Whenever I face problems, whenever I face adversity, I don't complain, I don't compare with others, and I just ask myself, how can I do better? What should I do step by step, right? So remember, guys, ladies, gentlemen, life was never fair, never is, and never will be. Right?
Thank you, Mr. Chan, for that insight. If I were to retell the story, I would probably choose the word that, well, never fair. It seems negative to me, but I just perhaps will tell it in a different way. I said, you know, all of us are unique. We can't have the best of both worlds. So if I was, I don't have a chauffeur to fetch me from schools and I get to drive the moment I get my license, I will never learn how to ride a bicycle. And then some of my friends today, they're very rich. They see me riding bicycles, my mountain bike and all this, but they don't know how to ride a bicycle. So perhaps the grass is always greener on the other side. We think of the, people who are more fortunate than us in terms of monetary. Well, yes, if you measure success, happiness by the amount of money you have in a bank, that's true. But like I said, you said it, life is never fair. I said it, life is uniquely individual. We are all individuals. I feel that, I guess, God or the universe is fair. You can't have the best of everything. So just be contented, be humble, which I really like. If you are humbled, then everything to me is a blessing, right? But thank you for sharing all these insights. Some of it is very private that most people don't share, because most of the time we look at media, they always publish about success. But success means it comes with lots of hard work. Like you said, people are complaining, especially during this COVID, why me, why me? You can watch things go by at home and complain, or you can do something. To me, every little thing makes a difference, right? Rather than just complain, because complain, you get nothing. Like some people say, either my boss is bad, my work is, then do something, find a new job. Or if not, then you will be forever just complaining, right? So that's we know about your childhood, we know about your philosophy when you're starting work and all this. So tell me, I know that you graduated, and then you work for someone, right? And today you're a very successful entrepreneur, leading a fintech company, I would say. What was the decision that got you, to change the direction? Because you wanted to get a good job, good pay, obviously, just like everyone else. Because transitioning from a corporate person to an entrepreneur is a totally different ballgame. So, how did it happen, and did you regret, the decision?
Hey, Rina, to answer your question, I have to bring you back to my early days during my employment. I was a BP scholarship holder, and first thing is being a scholarship holder, you are born 2 years to work for British Petroleum. Now, I managed to convince them to release my 2 years bond simply because they don't have sales job for me. Right from the start, the only job I want is I'm very focused. The job that I want is only sales. Why sales? Because to me, sales, the income is unlimited. How hard you work, you earn, because sales has an element of commission. The more you sell, the more commission you have. So I managed to convince British Petroleum to release the bond, and from there I started to work. Of course, I did very well in my job in IT company. Eventually, they went listed and so on and so forth. Now, what I have learned during my tenure as an employee is the moment we gain little bit of success, we start to forget about our roots, right? We start to think that, we are very smart now. So what I did was I actually invested in stock market. Now, being a employee, graduates, and of course the banks want to give us a margin financing for our stock investment. Now, we thought, hey, investing in stock market is so easy. Buy low, sell high. I'm a mathematician, so buy low, sell high is, to me, is very simple. Now, what I did was in 1997, ASEAN financial crisis set in, and that's where I lost few hundred thousand. During that time, few hundred thousand, 300,000-400,000 is a lot of money. And what I've learned during that time was I entered into something without knowing the rules of the game. So in life, whatever you want to do, you must know the rule of the game, right? If you want to play well in football, you must know the rules. If you don't know the rules, the moment you are in the field, straight away you are being penalized. straight away you are a loser by default because you don't know the rules, right? And worse still, a lot of people, they don't know the rules, they become spectator. They watch from outside, right? There's a lot of people being a spectator. First, they're very worried about knowing the game and knowing the rules of the game. So I don't know the rules of the game, and I lost a lot of money during the financial crisis. Then I make a very important decision during my employment. Look, the time I was a manager earning 5,000 basic salary, 5,000 ringgit during my time. Well, I would say substantially quite big. Imagine 30 years ago, right? So because of that, I know my salary can never repay my loan, right? The margin financing. And I got a lot of obligation, right? With all this obligation, I know I can never repay. So what I did was I made another crucial decision in my life. That is, I don't want to be an employee anymore. I must go into business. I have no choice. So people like me, you can call myself entrepreneur by force or entrepreneur by situation. The
by
situation
accident.
that I don't want to be, to be in a situation where I owe the bank a few 100,000. Being an employee owing the bank a few 100,000, it's very, very painful. So
it's actually very scary, right? To be, the interest rates keep pounding up and you have no way out of that dump that you dug for yourself.
Yeah, that's why now the principle set in. Remember I told you life never fair. So I know that life never fair. So I don't complain. I don't regret on my mistake. So
it's your decision.
Yes, I learned something very important is whatever I want to do in future, I must know the rule of the game, right? So the moment you know the rule of the game, your chance of failure is lesser. I'm not saying that you guarantee you will succeed, but at least the chances of failure is much lesser. So of course, during that time, I said I must venture into business. That's where I got into prepaid card distribution, and true enough, with my hard work and guiding principle, like life never fair, I continue to work until the last. Not every day when I sell all this prepaid card, I will walk the street until the last shop open. As long as there's a shop open, I will promote my prepaid card. And that's how we built the business from ground zero, right? Of course, within 6-7 months, I managed to pay all the loan. And I continue to build the country's largest prepaid card distribution. I still remember in year 2006, our turnover was 1.6 billion. Right? Now, prepaid card, the sales turnover is very high, but margin is very, very slim, right? Because people buy prepaid card for their mobile phone, top-ups, and so forth, right? So that is an important lesson I learned. So I hope the audience, well, in life, you must know the rules of the game.
Interesting. At that in 2006, the turnover was 1.something billion, 1.6 billion, right? You said, but the margin is very low. So this also something I want to highlight. You can go into businesses with high margin or high transaction with low margin. So to me, perhaps I'm a bit lazy. I'll look for businesses that I only need to do maybe a $10 million kind of work, but gives me a better margin. But anyway, different businesses have got different.
Life was never fair. Life is fair to you. You got a business where you got big transaction volume and big margin. So my business is I got big transaction volume but small margin. So
but I'm sure,
I never complain, and I don't compare between you and me.
Yeah, but there are businesses where there's a huge revenue, but a huge loss as well. And they justify it as, I'm sacrificing my profit for market share. Like most of the unicorns, right? To me, I'm a traditional investor. Business exists to make profit, not just revenue. If you build a business and doesn't make money, doesn't make profit, make money, it will make money, but whether you're profitable or not is the most critical, right? Top line is good, bottom line is crucial, right? So anyway, I'm sure you learn a lot building a distribution channel. And I think to me, every lesson in life is something we can use in future. Especially, I think the message goes to the young ones, perhaps your employees are the new startups. I always tell myself that, 20 years ago, I would probably blame my bosses for giving me so many things outside of my JD. But my philosophy is that my boss is not stupid, given that I think he's quite successful. He will not choose to give Rina a task if he thinks Rina is not able to deliver it, because it'll look bad on him. So instead of telling myself that why my boss always sabo me, is always like, want to arrow me to do things, I think my boss is giving me an opportunity to show my capability. So that's my philosophy all these years, even today, right? So so next, I
want to hold
yes.
you. My story is my life never fair actually continue. Right?
Okay.
Now, next thing why my life never fair is I was the largest prepaid card distribution.
Yes.
And
what
suddenly the CEO of the one of the big telco, they just terminate my distributorship. Being the largest, okay?
Okay.
And
it must be a slap on the face.
States. Yeah, I mean, imagine I have 30, 40 million stock circulating in the market. The moment I being terminated the distributorship, if the dealer want to play cheat, they don't need to even repay me. So I got another big problem. Now, during the financial crisis, the stock market, my liability is 300,000-400,000, but this is 30, 40 million. So is life fair to me being the top distributor? Now, what happened was my guiding principle, philosophy, life never fair, actually helped me a lot, right? First and foremost, a lot of people will say, hey, let's sue the company. Let's chase after all these bad treatment and so on and so forth. To me, I look at it is the moment you accept life never fair to you. So what you do is you reserve your positive energy to do something that actually can help you to catapult to another level, right? And to me, it's very important. Now, rather than you spend a lot of time suing the company being the largest telco, they got a team of lawyers willing to take you in court for the next 2-3 years. And do you want to waste 2-3 years wasting a lot of your money and effort, and mentally you are being stressed out? So because of the philosophy accepting life never fair, so what I did was I looked at it logically. Okay, I lost this distributorship. Yes, they got all the rights to terminate me. What should I do? That's where I looked into the businesses that we have. And that's where, luckily, in year 2000, at a very early years, we decided to go into internet business during that time. And we built Mobile88 into the largest digital magazine talking about gadget and mobile phone in the country. And from there, we see that we have to power the e-store. Powering e-store, you need a payment gateway. That's where we built a payment gateway. Now, we didn't see that opportunity operating a payment gateway until Fujifilm actually called us. And in year 2005, Fujifilm called us and said, hey, Chan, I want to use your payment gateway. And I answered to them, it's very simple. You are such a big multinational. All the banks want you as a customer. Why do you need my payment gateway? And their answer was, when they talk to the bank actually don't know what they want, right? And that reminds me, when I started my payment gateway way back in year 2000, when I talk to the bank also don't know what you want. Until I came to know a small bank called Alliance Bank, and the VP actually just came back from US, And he just told me, Chan, I know exactly what you want. You want something like PayPal. The moment
Okay.
a bank officer can mention the word PayPal, I know I had a home run. My search for payment gateway ends. So that's where we started with Alliance Bank as an acquiring bank, and that's where our payment gateway started way back in year 2000. Being the gateway is actually for our own use. So when Fujifilm called us up in 2005, then we see the opportunity. If multinational like Fujifilm need our service, how about the SME? There are millions of SME in Malaysia. And from that, we saw a big light bulb above our head, and we see that bright light at the end of the tunnel, even though we lost the distributorship. And from there, we start to build iPay88. That's the reason why in 2006, we set up a new company called iPay88 that actually offer the payment gateway services. And the rest are history. And over the years, we built iPay88. Now is the largest and also leading payment company in Southeast Asia. In Malaysia, we are a very strong market leader, especially in the digital space. We garner easily more than 50% market share. And well, life never fair brought me to what I am today. So I
guess
hope,
if you, yeah, sorry, continue, please.
Yeah, I hope audience will learn something from me. First thing is life never fair. Second thing is you must know the rule of the game, right? Then the third thing, now the moment I got terminated, what I did was I told myself I make another decision. My third decision that changed my life is I told myself I will never go into a business where I cannot control the brand, the product, right? It has to be my brand, my product, my services. That's the reason why we established iPay88. So until today, even in 2015, when NTT Data acquired 51% shares from us, we insist iPay88 brand to be continued. And we are very proud to announce to the world that even those conglomerate, the second largest conglomerate from Japan, acquire us, they still need to keep the iPay88 brand. And that is in the agreement, right? So something we should be very proud being a Malaysian. The technology are Malaysian and brand are Malaysian. And one day we hope iPay88 will be a global brand, right? Like PayPal.
Okay,
back to you, Rina.
Thank you, Mr. Chan. It was a really long, explanation of, your life being an employee to the few decisions that you made that sort of shape where you are today. And like I said, life is never fair. You got terminated by your so-called supplier, and it was really a bigger stake at that time, from 300,000-400,000 to 30-40 million. I think you must be sweating, and if they did not terminate your prepaid card business, perhaps you will still be selling prepaid card, and we know that today is a sunset business. So I think, life is never fair, but how you choose to look at it, this is a blessing in disguise. Maybe this guy is God sent to tell you, hey, Chan, you're doing this really cool business, but it's going down the hill. It's a sunset industry. Like now, like I said, I understand you're in payment gateway, you're in online payment gateway, online transaction more than actually a physical transaction, like the post terminal. And we know that 5G, or even some people are talking about 6G coming. When those technology hits the market, do we even really need a device, a post terminal? It's like now my whole office is in my laptop or my desktop. I no longer need the scanner. I no longer need a printer because everything is digital. So in the interest of time, we still have about 2 minutes before the recording ends. We know about you as the spokesperson, the face for iPay88, the work you do and being a leader in the fintech industry. I have two questions, but try to maybe summarize it so that the audience can get the sweet and sharp facts, right? First, tell us something that your peers don't know about you as Chan Kok Long. Is there anything, people see you as a very jolly person, you're always very friendly to everyone, at least you're friendly to me. Is there something that we don't know about you? Like, maybe I'll put it in this context. If today you were to retire, what will you be doing? Is there an interest that you want to pursue?
Okay, there are two things I want to pursue. One is nobody knows me that I actually appreciate art, painting, right? I enjoy painting like Rembrandt and also Van Gogh, all these very famous artists. Each of them have very unique stroke. And I love Rembrandt, the way he actually used sunlight, right? When you see his painting, it's like there's a bright sunlight actually, bright light actually shine into the paint. So it's all about strokes. Of course, Van Gogh have different unique strokes, painting and all these things. The second thing that nobody knows that I'm going to pursue is in education. I came up from poverty to education. So I know the importance of education, and I want to give back to the society by helping a lot of poor students, those cannot afford. You see, we have been hearing a lot of bright students with good academic, but their parents cannot really send them for university studies or colleges. So I want to build a charity organization. I'm not going to build new school. Being an entrepreneur itself is I'm going to leverage on all the existing school. So I came out with a very unique program where I can leverage on the school, the colleges. So what I want to achieve is two things. All the students that we sponsor, of course, academically must be very, very good. They must able to score straight A. Now, the other thing that I want to emphasize is whoever peer or my friend who sponsored the class, he had to pass on his legacy. For example, my passion is in entrepreneurship. So the class that I'm going to sponsor, maybe 20 students, 30 students, obviously the 20, 30 students have to achieve good academic results. And at the same time, me as an entrepreneur, as well as sponsor, I need to spend time to build entrepreneurship within the 30, 40 students. That is my legacy to pass on. Example, Rina, if you are a sport lady and you want to sponsor one class, the class can be 10 students, 20 students. Academic excellence is the responsibility of the school. But I want you, even though you have money, you are sponsoring them, I want your legacy to pass on to them. Your sport, your sportswomanship and all this the legacy that you want to build among these young children, school children, so that they can actually carry on your legacy, right? So
Great.
To me, the money that you sponsor actually help you to actually carry on Rina legacy in the future.
Okay, I think that's a very different way of looking at sponsoring or doing good, doing charity. But I always believe that nobody likes to just, take from people. You have a greater joy being able to share or to give. And of course, many people give money as a form of doing good. But to me, I think spending time with someone is more priceless because time equals to your time on earth, right? So it's part of your life, right? Giving money, obviously, if you have extra, you can't bring it to your grave, so you have to share. But it's good to hear that corporate figures like yourself is already planning the next phase of your life, that you've gone through the whole cycle. and you're doing something that keeps you motivated, keeps you alive, and you're doing it to help the people that were once, perhaps have the same fate as you. So thank you so much, Mr. Chan, for your time this morning. I know you're a very busy person. So to the audience listening in, hi, Gary. Gary is our co-founder and CEO of Asia CEO. So this session is with Mr. Chan, co-founder and executive director of iPay88. iPay88 is one of the largest and leading payment gateway in Malaysia and also in Asia. So again, thank you, Mr. Chan, and all the best in your business and your retirement plan.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.